ANS News Video, November 2025. Welcome to the November edition of ANS News Video with interesting news from the Salesian world, celebrations, youth activities, anniversaries, and memorable moments to cherish and get inspired. RMG. Week-long activities to commemorate the 150th anniversary of the first Salesian missionary expedition. A week of celebrations organized by the missions sector unfolded in Valdocco, Turin, to mark the 150th anniversary of the first Salesian missionary expedition. The program opened on 8th to 9th November with the Be a Mission Gathering, where young people from the SDB and FMA settings reflected on the meaning of mission today. On 10th to 11th November, the provincial delegates for mission animation engaged in days of fraternity, reflection, and the sharing of missionary best practices from around the world. The central moment came on the evening of November the 11th, when the Salesians of the 156th Missionary Expedition and the FMA of the 148th received the missionary crucifix from the Rector Major and Mother Chiara Cazzuola in the Basilica of Mary Help of Christians. On the 12th of November, the missionaries and delegates traveled to Genoa for the unveiling of a commemorative plaque, a solemn Eucharist, and the inauguration of the Museum of Salesian Missionary Expeditions. The week concluded back in Valdocco, marked by gratitude, renewal, and a deepened missionary spirit. France. Rector Major's visit to Nice. To mark the 150th anniversary of the arrival of Salesians in Nice, the Rector Major made a two-day visit to Nice on the 15th and 16th of November to take part in the commemorative festivities. The program for the 2 days included moments of prayer, a Don Bosco in Nice treasure hunt, a Salesian family forum, a round table with education stakeholders, a social dinner, and a festive vigil. The presence of the Rector Major served not only as a pastoral and animation visit, but also as an encouraging sign of care for Salesian missionary memory, that which the missionaries sent by Don Bosco had begun in November 1875. Eastern and Southern Africa. Democratic Republic of Congo. Second St. Joseph AFCEST Delegation Oratory Day. On the 16th of November, the Salesian delegation of St. Joseph in Goma held its second Oratory Day on Boscolac Hill, gathering more than 1,000 young people from local oratories. The event seeks to become a yearly tradition, offering youth affected by the conflict in Eastern DRC a space of fraternity, joy, and spiritual renewal. The gathering strengthened communion among the oratories and deepened their identity in Don Bosco's spirit. The celebration ended with music, dances, skits, and artistic activities, expressing the resilience and hope of the young people. Togo. ISDB celebrates World Philosophy Day. On the 20th of November 2025, the Institut Supérieur Don Bosco of Lomé hosted the 20th World Philosophy Day together with the Togolese Philosophy Society and the University of Lomé. Professor Bilakani Tonyeme presented the theme Philosophy and AI, Reflection for an AI at the Service of Humanity. highlighting the opportunities and risks of artificial intelligence. Teachers and students from both institutions attended the conference, and it ended with a lively question and answer session. America South Cone. Brazil. SIM Provincial Assembly. The Salesian Youth Movement of Brazil held its provincial assembly on 22nd to 23rd November in Vargem Grande Paulista. With the theme, From the Courtyard to the World, the meeting strengthened the identity of the movement and encouraged young people to be signs of hope. The two-day gathering included moments of prayer, fraternity, formation, and missionary discernment. The closing Mass united all participants in gratitude for the formators and the outgoing council, renewing the commitment to live and share Don Bosco's charism. Brazil. Day of Fraternity. On the 8th of November, the past pupils of Don Bosco in Salvador held another edition of Dia Sinho, a day of joy and fraternity for children in need. The event, hosted at the Salesian High School, welcomed 338 children to cultural and educational activities inspired by Don Bosco. The children enjoyed performances, games, snacks, and gifts. The initiative expressed the past pupils' desire to give back, living Don Bosco's call to service with gratitude and generosity. Argentina. Pilgrimage to San Ignacio. Seferino, Pilgrim of Hope. In early November, hundreds of pilgrims gathered in San Ignacio to celebrate the 18th anniversary of the beatification of Seferino Namuncurá. Pilgrims arrived on horseback, visited the cemetery of Seferino's mother, and prayed at the cultrum that preserves his remains. A solemn mass and a procession to Cerro Seferino marked the highlights of the celebration. On Sunday, faithful departed from school number 13 in Namuncurá for the final pilgrimage. The celebration brought together clergy, civil authorities, and the artist who created the cultrum, all honoring the young Mapuche's legacy of faith. Brazil. 29th Salesian Youth Festival. From 28th to 30th November, the Salesian Sacred Heart of Jesus College hosted the 29th Salesian Youth Festival, welcoming nearly 1,000 young people from across Northeast Brazil. The college became a true Salesian courtyard, offering days filled with spirituality, joy, and fraternity. The opening on Friday featured music, animation, and the traditional good night. Saturday included Mass in the Basilica, catechesis at the Boa Vista Theater, and artistic performances from the delegations, followed by a lively walk through the Boa Vista neighborhood. On Sunday, the event concluded with Mass, followed by the final artistic presentations and the blessing of Mary Help of Christians. East Asia, Oceania. Hong Kong. EAO Salesian Youth Ministry delegates meet. From 6 to 10 November, the Salesian House of Studies in Hong Kong welcomed delegates of youth ministry from across East Asia and Oceania. Led by Father Rafael Bejarano and the International Youth Ministry team, the program offered days of listening, dialogue, and reflection. Themes included GC29, pastoral research, mental health, lay collaboration, and responding to the dreams of the young. The gathering strengthened unity and renewed the region's commitment to dynamic and contextualized youth ministry. Hong Kong. Opening of the 120th anniversary celebrations. To mark the arrival of the 120 years of Salesians in China, a year-and-a-half series of events were launched on the 1st of November at the Salesian Institute in Macau. The opening ceremony, attended by Provincial Father Domingos Leong and over 300 representatives of the Salesian family, recalled the arrival of Bishop Luigi Versiglia and the first missionaries in 1906, inspired by Don Bosco's Dream of China. A Mass for All Saints' Day followed. The celebrations will reach their peak on the 13th of February, 2026. Throughout this period, various programs will help renew the mission of educating and evangelizing young people. Philippines, forming young servant leaders. The Salesian Leaders and Animators Formation successfully gathered youth from Don Bosco Dakudao and Mati in Dakudao, Philippines on November 22nd to 23rd, 2025. Under the theme, Anchored in Hope, Leaders for the Young, the event inspired participants to a faith-filled online commitment, taking St. Carlo Acutis as their model. The event successfully renewed the young leaders' commitment to joyful service. Vietnam, Altar Servers Feast 2025. The youth ministry team of the Salesian province of Vietnam successfully held the Altar Servers Feast Day on November 15, 2025 at the Don Bosco Linh Quang Parish in Dalat. Bringing together nearly 400 servers, the event's theme, Witnesses of Hope, aimed to deepen their Christian vocation and joy of service. Indonesia, AO Formation delegates meet. The East Asia Oceania Formation Commission held its annual meeting in Jakarta, Indonesia from November 11th to 14th, 2025. The assembly addressed emerging needs in formation, including support for confreres in their first 5 years after perpetual profession. Discussions focused on adapting programs for the age of AI and developing new interprovincial collaboration plans. Cambodia, Nomencura Short Film Festival. In Kep, Cambodia, the Don Bosco Technical School hosted the second Nomencura Short Film Festival for young Asian indigenous people in November 2025. The event, themed Anchored in Hope with Our Ancestral Territories, brought together indigenous students, including the Jarai and Bunong communities. The festival featured ancestral dances and affirmed Namuncura's legacy of hope and resistance. South Asia, India. 7th National Educational Conference of Don Bosco Schools. The 7th National Educational Conference of Don Bosco Schools convened 240 delegates from across South Asia in Shillong, India, from November 6th to 8th, 2025. Hosted by the Shillong province, the conference focused on transformative change in Salesian education. Key sessions addressed mentoring skills, greening education for sustainability, and adapting to the challenges of AI. India. DBHE Annual Conference and General Body Meeting. Don Bosco Higher Education South Asia held its annual conference and general body meeting in Panjim, Goa from November 18th to 20th, 2025. Focusing on participatory models of education, the event gathered leaders from India and Sri Lanka to explore collaborative approaches to academic excellence. The conference reaffirmed a commitment to strengthening teaching, research, and youth engagement, rooted in the Salesian preventive system and the Church's synodal vision. India. Don Bosco Karguli marks 25 years of service. Don Bosco Institute, Karguli, India, celebrated its Silver Jubilee on November 22, 2025, marking 25 years of empowering youth through education in Northeast India. The grand event was graced by Honorable Justice Ujjal Bhuyan and other dignitaries. The ceremony featured cultural programs, including the dance drama Immortal Echoes by DBI students. India. Sports for Change Charity Marathon. Over 3,000 young people from schools and Don Bosco homes gathered in Ernakulam, Kerala on November 14th for the Sports for Change Charity Marathon. Coinciding with National Children's Day, the initiative aimed to support children's rights to health, well-being, and freedom. The event embodies the Salesian vision, using sports to promote resilience and values. Inter-America. Mexico. SIM celebrates 30 years. The Salesian Youth Movement in the Guadalajara province of Mexico celebrated its 30th anniversary from November 14th to 16th, 2025. Over 1,100 young people and Salesians gathered in Guadalajara for the Provincial Assembly, coinciding with the Jubilee of Hope. The event, which included formation and animation, Eucharistic celebration, a circus festival, and a pilgrimage, stressed that Salesian youth spirituality centers on following Christ and building a just and sustainable future. Dominican Republic, the 5th Salesian Congress of Educommunication. The Salesians of Don Bosco of the Antilles Province gathered for their 5th Educommunication Congress, focusing on the theme, Artificial Intelligence and the Educational Pastoral Challenge. Participants reflected on how AI is reshaping the worlds of education and communication. Speakers highlighted both the promising opportunities and the real risks emerging in digital culture. Special emphasis was placed on forming young people to use AI in ways that uphold human dignity. Colombia. Ciudad Don Bosco Medellin celebrates 60 years. Ciudad Don Bosco Medellin, Colombia, celebrated its 60th anniversary on October 29, 2025, marking 6 decades of transforming the lives of vulnerable youth. The commemoration, themed Educating with the Heart, gathered alumni and benefactors for a day of reflection, art, and testimony. Peru. 40 years of DB Oratory in Tacala. The Don Bosco Oratory in Tacala, Piura, Peru, joyfully celebrated its 40th anniversary in service to local youth and families. The celebrations, which included a gala evening and the Eucharistic celebration, centered around the new Don Bosco image. The children's families were encouraged to join the new Mama Margarita parent formation group, starting in 2026. Bolivia. Salesian Oratories coordinators meet. Nearly 27 Salesian and lay coordinators from the 15 oratories in Bolivia gathered in Cochabamba on November 8th and 9th to reflect on the originality of the Salesian Oratory and focused on discernment and future planning. The gathering concluded with a Mass to mark the 150th anniversary of the first Salesian missionaries. Central and Northern Europe. Slovakia, 21st Sim General Assembly. Slovakia hosted the regional meeting of youth ministry delegates from the Mediterranean and Central North Europe regions from November 17th to 22nd, 2025. The gathering, held between Bratislava and Žilina, brought together 28 delegates and lay collaborators. The meeting focused on key themes, including the pastoral implications of GC29, mental health and networking for vulnerable youth. Slovenia. Croatian Salesian oratories meet. Around 250 young people and 12 Salesians from all oratories in the Croatian province gathered in Sticna, Slovenia from October 31st to November 1st, 2025. The two-day meeting offered a genuine oratory experience characterized by joy, fraternity, and an encounter with Christ. The gathering culminated in a holy Mass on the Solemnity of All Saints. Poland. Meeting of Oratory Leaders. The second annual meeting of oratory leaders from the Salesian Warsaw province and the Daughters of Mary Help of Christians was held in Łódź, Poland from November 7th to 10th, 2025. Gathering around 250 participants, the event centered on the motto, "The Keys of Hope: Jesus, Mission, Joy, and Community." The meeting concluded with a holy Mass and a prize-giving ceremony. Mediterranean. Italy. 75 years of Salesian presence in Colle Valdelsa. The Salesian presence in Colle Valdelsa, Italy, celebrated its conclusion of the 75th anniversary celebration on Sunday, November 16, 2025. The day featured a historical reenactment of the Salesians' arrival, Eucharistic celebration in the presence of the vicar, General Father Stefano Martolio, and the blessing of a new St. John Bosco statue. The festivities concluded with a concert by the Carabinieri National Band. Portugal. National Sim Meet. The Salesian Youth Movement in Portugal held its annual zone meeting on November 15, 2025, simultaneously in Arouca in the north and Manique in the south. Inspired by the theme, "Wake Up, There is a Place for You," the event gathered around 300 young people for a day of celebration, formation, and spirituality. Feast of Zati at the Salesian headquarters. The Salesian central headquarters in Rome marked the Feast of St. Artemide Zati on Thursday, November 13, 2025. The event began with a rosary and a solemn mass, presided over by the vicar, Father Stefano Martolio, who highlighted Zati's life as a model of practical holiness and wisdom. The commemoration concluded with different testimonies on Zati as a missionary and a moment of fraternal fellowship. "150 years of missionary expedition." In November 2025, the global Salesian family united to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Don Bosco's first missionary expedition, a historic jubilee that sparked widespread celebrations and a renewed commitment to the mission across continents. Argentina. In Junín de los Andes, Salesians and the Mapuche people held intercultural celebrations, led by Cardinal Ángel Fernández Artime, marking the 150 missionary anniversary. The San Nicolás de los Arroyos community, the site of the first Salesian house in the Americas, celebrated the 150th anniversary with a massive thanksgiving and a focus on Don Bosco's educational legacy. China, Hong Kong. The China province celebrated the 150th missionary anniversary in Hong Kong with a symbolic sending ceremony aboard the Star Ferry, renewing their missionary commitment. France. The Salesian community in Nice celebrated the 150th anniversary of the Salesians' arrival in France with a two-day event attended by the new Rector Major, Father Fabio Attard. Germany. The German Salesian province hosted a study day in Bonn focused on the 150th anniversary, reflecting on the modern missionary call for decoloniality and social engagement. India. The Shillong province commemorated the 150th anniversary on November 11th with special masses and cultural programs, renewing the Salesian missionary spirit. The Chennai province held its Missionary Day on November 8th to 9th in Trupatur, marking the 150-year anniversary and featuring powerful missionary testimonies. The Mumbai province held a seminar on November 11th at DB Matunga to mark the 150th anniversary, featuring sessions on evangelization in India's multicultural context. Italy. Genoa marked the conclusion of the 150th missionary anniversary with the blessing of the plaque and inaugurating the Missionary Expedition Museum at the Porto Antico. Myanmar. In Anisakan, the community celebrated the 150th missionary anniversary with a pontifical high mass and a play reenacting the first Salesians' arrival in 1939. Nigeria. The Salesian family of the An province gathered in Akure to celebrate 150 years of the Salesian mission with a conference attended by over 65 participants. Through talks, workshops, and cultural moments, the event renewed their shared commitment to Don Bosco's vision. Poland. A missionary congress in Warsaw was organized on November 7th and 8th, gathering 500 participants, featuring historical conferences and testimonies to renew the missionary spirit. South Korea. Over 300 members of the Salesian family gathered in Seoul on the 23rd of November for Salesian Missionary Day, commemorating 150 years since the first missionary expedition. The event inspired participants with music, testimonies, youth performances, and interactive moments. Messages from church leaders encouraged gratitude, discernment, and renewed missionary zeal. Spain. Over 1,400 young people gathered in Horta, Barcelona for a large province-wide camp celebrating the 150th missionary anniversary, attended by the Rector Major. Sri Lanka. The Salesian family of Sri Lanka gathered in Nochiekama on the 5th of November for a Mass of Thanksgiving, preparing for the 70th anniversary of their local mission. That's all we have for you in this November edition of ANS News video. Please do share the good news about our Salesian mission and young people to your confreres, collaborators, and beneficiaries.